can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Morning, Chairperson. Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
So should your broadcast.
Right, it's 12:30, everybody. Just to welcome everybody to this meeting. I think we're getting quite used to these online meetings this time round. So I really want to welcome all the members, all the officials, everybody from the department, the minister, the HOD. I think at this point, if we can maybe just start by everybody introducing themselves. I'm Benedicta van Minnen. I am the chair of this committee. If everyone else can just briefly turn on their cameras and then introduce themselves.
Good morning, everyone. I am Peter Johnson, permanent member of this committee.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Member Boyson, and I'm also a member of this committee. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Wendy Kaiser-Philander, a member of this committee.
Afternoon, my name is Member Lorenzo, a member of this committee. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Member Stevens, and I'm a member of this committee. Thank you.
Is there anybody else who wants to introduce themselves?
Good morning, Chairperson. I'm Asha Kasim. I'm a member of this committee. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, everyone. I am going to assume that everybody has read the adjustments. I also want to welcome any public who may have been logged on. This also technically has a public hearing component. I don't see anybody at this particular point. But Minister, if I can hand over to you and to your department to please introduce yourselves.
Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon, Chairperson and members of the committee. My name is Ricardo Mackenzie. I'm the Minister of Cultural Affairs and Sport, and I'll ask the head of the department and the team to introduce themselves. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairperson. My name is Guy Redmond. I'm the head of department for Cultural Affairs and Sport.
Good morning, Chairperson and members. My name is Brenda Radkes, and I'm the Chief Financial Officer.
Good morning, Chair and members. My name is Luan Dondamo, Deputy Director, Management Accounting.
Good morning, Chair and members. I'm Carol van Wyk. I'm the Chief Director, Cultural Affairs.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Danielle Manuel. I'm responsible for sport development.
Good morning. I'm Sean Julie, Director Strategic Operational Management Support.
Good morning, Chair and members. My name is Temba Mkhulu. I'm the Director for Arts, Culture and Language Services.
Good morning, Chair and members. My name is Tabututu, Director Sport Promotion.
Good morning, Chair and members. My name is Numaza Dinayo. I'm the Director for Provincial Archives and Record Service.
Morning, everyone. Jackie Bull from the Youth and After School Programs.
Good morning, everyone. It's Cecilia Sani, Director, Library Service.
Good morning, Chair, members, Minister, and fellow colleagues. My name is Lyndon Bauer, and I'm the Chief Director for Sport and Recreation.
Chairperson, we have Dr. Michael Jansen van Rensburg online. Michael.
Good morning, Chair and members. Michael Jansen van Rensburg, Director for Museums, Heritage and Geographical Names.
Thank you very much. I quite like that. A collage and a landscape view. Very swish. Okay, at this point, Minister, do either you or the HOD want to do some highlights or opening remarks at this point before we take questions?
Chairperson, if I can just go and just say thank you very much for the standing committee. Welcome to the adjustment budget process of vote 13 of our Department of Cultural Affairs and Sport. We're obviously referencing from page 333 until completion. As the department, as the ministry, we obviously welcome the additional funds. We're a department that always looks for money because we believe in the upstream approach. And I want to thank our colleagues working in the provincial government who's been working with us on the additional budgets. We welcome these deliberations, and obviously we are here to answer any particular questions that the standing committee may have from page 333 onwards. And I'll hand over to the head of department, and then we'll proceed from there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister, and thanks, Chairperson. Morning again, members and members of the public as well. Thank you for the opportunity just to present the 2025 adjusted estimates for vote 13. The net increase to the department's budget amounts to just over 10 million rand, increasing our vote to 968 million rand. Our adjustment remain aligned to the 3 DCAS strategic outcomes of participation, platforms, and pathways. In terms of the major additions that are strengthening participation and pathways, the largest adjustment this year is the 20.4 million that is shifted from vote 5, WCED, to expand joint DCAS and WCED programs. They are as follows. There's a 13 million for the Western Cape School Sports Strategy, a strategy jointly developed by the Department of Education as well as the DCAS. 3.8 million for year beyond at-home learning, 2 million for Shukuma, moving mindset, and 1.6 million for parenting and caregiver upskilling. These investments significantly expand youth participation and deepen developmental pathways across schools as well as communities. We also received 2.8 million in rollovers for the MOD program, ensuring continuity of safe after-school participation opportunities. With respect to the other platforms, strengthening platforms, the increase in our vote is also impacted further by rollovers, increases in own revenue as well as revenue retention. In the following areas, there's just over 2 million rollover for the portable data terminals. These are instruments for asset verification of library materials. There's a 2.2 million in revenue retention plus 350,000 increased own revenue for new library materials, which helps in directly strengthening public access platforms. And then in sports, there's a 580,000 rollover, which enables development of the new Western Cape government single entry events portal, modernizing our events management platform. And then to further strengthen platforms, there's an amount of 9.1 million, which was shifted to vote 1, the Department of the Premier, for ECM, which for systems implementation support. As you know, .P is our strategic partner in the implementation of the rollout of the ECM system. We also received a contribution of 3.5 million towards sport and cultural activities, supporting participation, while also sustaining sector pathways. So in conclusion, Chairperson, the substantial increases in this adjustment budget expand participation through school sport and youth development, modernized platforms such as libraries and event systems, and also widening pathways for young people through the Shukuma and MOD. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. I think a lot of that is really good news to hear. Okay, so what we're going to do is, it's not a particularly long adjustments budget. As we've heard, it's on page 333 to page 348. So that's what, 15 pages. So I'm not going to break it up. I'm going to allow you to ask into that whole block. And yes, do we have any questions on this? Any questions of clarity, any general questions? If you do, please pop your hand up now. I am going to ask, because we need to stick to time, that in each round you take up to 2 minutes to ask your question, and then if it goes over that, we'll then come back in the next round. So I at this point have Member Johnson and Member Stevens. Let's start with Member Johnson.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. Not necessarily a question, just a comment from my side. Just a special word of thanks for the additional 144,000 Rand that was allocated to the Prince Albert municipality under Program 4, that was made available for the installation of prefabricated ablution facilities next to the netball courts. And I'm sure that this investment will significantly improve access to more safer and hygienic sport facilities. And I am also aware that I think this might be the second opportunity that the municipality was given to spend these funds, and I will definitely be ensuring that I exercise my oversight responsibilities to ensure that the funds do get spent this time around. And lastly, it's encouraging to see that no small town such as Prince Albert is left behind within this department. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I also think it's important to note that human dignity is the cornerstone of our Constitution. Member Stevens?
Thank you, Chair. My first question, does the adjustment appropriation include funding for community-based arts initiatives, cultural events, or creative sector development programs, and which regions will benefit? And can the department confirm whether the adjustments strengthen school sport programs or youth development initiatives, particularly in rural and high-risk communities? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Member Benson.
Thank you very much, Chair. Let me also join those who, thank you very much, Chair, and good morning, MEC, and your HOD and your executive. Firstly, let me join those who have welcomed the budget adjustment increase of about 10 million or so. Now, however, I must also make the point, which we've been consistently raising, is that where I stand, this increase is not sufficient. But I would appreciate if perhaps the MEC can air his views on this, whether is this amount sufficient for the attainment of the objectives or meeting of the priorities of the department. The main question, Chair, relates to the whole notion of the decrease in the compensation of employees budget. Now, one of the fundamental reasons for this reduction, and also how many posts are affected, and can the department confirm whether there are any frozen posts, and if so, and how many are those? And finally, why is the 12 million on page 38 realigned to the replacement of computer hardware and SLIMs not reflected in this table? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Minister, if I can hand over to you and your team to deal with those questions.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and thank you for the questions, honourable members. If I can just take a quick stare before the rest of the team comes in. If I can just respond to our colleague regarding rural areas. Yes, I'm extremely happy that the team has managed to assist our small towns. I love small towns, and it's fantastic to see that they can make their difference in your constituency, honourable member, and we really would appreciate your oversight on that, ensuring that gets delivered to the community, but more importantly, that the community use it and that the community please protect our assets. Every single thing we do, whether it's pollution facilities, whether it's fencing, whether it's stands, whether it's every single thing we do, we have a responsibility to take care of it. And please share this good news of what's taking place at that facility, because there's good things taking place in our community. Then the second question to Member Stevens. yes, certainly. One of the most exciting things that this money and this adjustment will contribute to is our new George Arts and Culture Festival, which the creative industry is a big beneficiary of this. 2 weeks ago, I was at George High School, and the young people that performed there, and sometimes I wish I have a Facebook live broadcast or podcast set that I can share with me and travel around and share it for the world. And the young people that perform there at George High School, and the same individuals will perform and be part of the George Festival from the creative industry. And I wish the world can see what George High School has produced that evening and what they'll produce from the 13th to the 16th of December. So the creative industry will be a beneficiary of that. And the one song sang by a guy called Wimpy, I nearly brought me to tears to see this young man can sing Amen, Amen with a voice that will put Michael Jackson into the same. So thank you to my colleague Temba, who was arranged that. It was just such a rim on the heart to know that in our small towns, our creative industry is flourishing, and our role is just to build it up. Then honorable member, the second question on that, yes, I think my colleague Guy will speak to the more technicality on this, but our aim is to ensure rural communities benefit. And this adjustment, the first big beneficiary of this adjustment is George. And I can also tell you something that my team doesn't know yet, but this morning I spent a bit of time on TikTok. And honorable members, if you type in George Festival, you'll see when you create and enable an ecosystem like our job is, there's already 2 or 3 other big events popping up. Not necessarily for us, because we don't do nightclubs in this room, but there's already 1 or 2 nightclubs who's all named themselves George Festival, but they're putting up events. But the point is, when you create an environment, people will do their own thing. And there's already 2. So those go to nightclubs. There's 2 who proclaim they're part of us, but I know they're not part of us. But it speaks to the point I always make. When you create something, people will join. And the rest of the questions I'll leave to Guy and the team. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Thank you, Minister. For the first one, Member Johnson, thank you very much for the comment. I think we agree with you wholeheartedly about the importance of this intervention, especially in that community. As you mentioned, access, the Chairperson has mentioned dignity, but also improving the participation of the girl child. So it was a very important intervention, and thank you very much for that. We're going to have a number of colleagues covering the various questions. We will start with the after-school question that came from Member Stevens, and then that will be done by Mr. Daniel Manuel. And then the question on the coverage that we have on the cultural events and programs with the additional funding that we've received will be covered by Mr. Mfunu. And then the CFO will cover the realignment question, and Mr. Julie will cover the vacancy related question. I think that accounts for all of the questions in this month. Over to you, Ms. Manuel.
Well, thank you very much, Judy. Member, thank you very much for the question. There is a big focus on rural schools, ensuring that they have access to participation. As you know, the Western Cape School Sports Strategy was recently signed off on the 27th of November by Cabinet. We started engaging with district directors at education at the rural level, ensuring that all schools are going to be participating. What we're designing with education linked to the seamless program is where all schools can register at the beginning of the year, indicating what school sport codes they will be participating in. So, for example, this year we've seen a significant increase in Eden and Central Karoo, whereas in 2024, their participation in school sports was at 40%. This year it increased to 80%. So this is the number of schools saying we want to register, we want to play, and we are responding to this demand by providing them with the necessary equipment, providing them with the necessary coaches, and also ensuring that federations are able to respond to the demand. So we will have a dashboard that shows you the number of schools registered per district at the rural level. That dashboard will be updated on a regular basis, where school updates that they participate in so many leagues, they've missed games, etc., etc. So this is a live M&E dashboard system that we're developing with education. With our after-school program, there's a balance between rural and education. So the 315 centers that we have, 50% in rural and 50% in the metro. We have these programs, and then we also create these jobs at a local level in a rural community where the coach is from that particular community. So the coach becomes a role model in that community, and they also have the social capital that provides the protective factor to the learner. So the caring, competent coach is in fact the protective factor, creating a physically and psychologically safe space for the learner. So in summary, we do have a strong rural strategy, and we can continue to keep you abreast on data that tells you which schools are participating in which particular code. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Manuel. And some team.
Thank you, the Chair. So the communities that we are currently looking at and working with in terms of the arts and culture program, these ones include programs in the Matsekama region, around Fedendal, and all the surrounding communities in terms of talent development programs, working with the arts and culture organizations that are registered in those communities. We also have programs that are planned for the 10 million program. Actually, the team chair members is going to be out there tomorrow. There's exciting programs that will be taking place this weekend. We also got the what Minister spoke about around the George Festival. Now, the interesting thing about George Festival is that as much as it's taking place in George, but in partnership with organizations such as the Eden FM and the local organizations, we have created a sort of global talent search program that goes to the various communities in and around George, so that we can identify talent that ideally would not have had an opportunity to perform at events of this nature. So there are young people that have been brought in from the rural communities, which includes your traditional dance, real dance, some of the Khoi communities also in terms of the cultural programming that will be taking place. So all of these have been drawn from the various communities as part of our partnership with Eden FM. But also got programs with in Plet, which we are doing in partnership with the Forest organization. Quite an exciting program as well that is going to be taking place there, which has been made possible by the available funding. But also in K-Flex, there's a program that we're looking at, which is going to be looking at the commemoration of the 60 years of the forest removals. So quite a few exciting projects that we have planned. So thank you so much.
Very much.
Thank you. So the question about the realignment, the 12.5 million, it relates to the 8 million under expenditure in the COE, and then we shifted 4.5 million back to the provincial treasury to keep it, in the reserve fund for the Olympic Stadium. Right now, DOI is in the process of doing some repair work. In fact, they are, I think they are, Dr. Bauer, at technical spec stage at this point. So the funding is not lost. We are able to tap into that funding once DOI is ready for us to go in with the SASTRIA compliance. And then the 8 million, just to indicate also, is not lost, remember. So basically, PT allowed us to prioritize our COE under expenditure to the 3 million that we've then allocated for the SLIMS replacement, because that is a system that needs replaced. It's outdated at the moment. And it is opening us up for quite a bit of risks, both from an audit perspective as well as, a public perspective. And then the additional 5 million we redirected to the replacement of computer hardware because of the issue around the Windows 11 that was implemented in the current financial year, where we found that some of our computers are not compatible. So for the sake of business continuity, we had to ensure that we prioritize funding so that we are able to replace those laptops and desktops, which will not be able to be operational beyond Windows 10. Thank you.
Okay, today, I think I'm going to start off with the unfunded vacancies. Actually, the question was regarding the post, whether it's also unfunded vacancies. Just to say that we've got about 41% unfunded vacancy in the department, which means that we're actually running at around about 59%. The posts that are reflected here are all posts that are funded for, and it moves from basically from month to month as people exit and as people are appointed. The process of filling a post takes quite a lot of time. Most of it is externally outside of the department's control, and all posts are subjected to OD processes, which means job evaluation. In terms of the PSA requirement, all jobs have to be job evaluated from the 1st of January this year, which then means it's a further delay in the process. It then also goes to CSC to be advertised, and the process just takes much longer than anticipated. And that's the result of the COE savings, Chair. And yeah, I'm not sure if there are any questions, but I'll take questions if there are.
Thank you very much. I think those are the entire suite of questions that we responded to for round one. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for those answers. Okay, so that was our first round. Do we have another?
Chair, I just wanted to
Yes.
add to my colleague, Member Benson. Yes, certainly we welcome the money. Of course, we would like additional money. We can always do more with additional money, but one has to appreciate what is in the budget envelope. But we welcome the money, and we can always do with more money, definitely. Thanks.
I think that's probably the view of everyone in the committee, that we can always do with more money in this department. Right, that was round one. Do we have any further questions at this particular point? I'm not seeing any hands. I want to find out from the procedural officer, do we have any members of the public who have logged in?
Good morning, Chair, members and department. There's been no indication of public input.
Okay. Right, then everyone, this is your last opportunity before we move on. Going, gone. So, Minister and HOD, there we go, right at the end. It's a bit like an auction. Member Nwensu?
Thank you very much, Chair. You were inviting us for the second round, not so?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. No, look, I want us to, Chair, to explore this whole notion of rollovers, which are amounting to more than 4 million, and they're drawn from two programs, library and archives, sports and recreation. Now, I think it would be important for the department to engage with us or to report to us about the fundamental basis for these rollovers, and whether do they meet the treasury criteria for committed funds. That's the first broad question. On library and archive services, Chair, I wanted to clarify the following. How were the public libraries affected by the delay in procuring the portable data terminals during this period, 2024-2025? That's the first one. The second one, from which service provider or supplier were these devices ordered, and was a binding commitment in place before year end? And what is the unit cost of each portable data terminal, and how many devices are being procured? And finally, on this program, how many libraries will benefit from this technological investment, and what improvement in asset verification processes is expected? Now, on sport and recreation rollover, Now, given the request to roll over this is about 508,000 to establish a secure single portal for all Western Cape government. Now, as a committee, we want to understand as to what factors were responsible for the delay in initiating the development of this single entry events portal during the financial year under review. For which service provider is this portal being procured, and what is binding contractual commitment in place before the end of the financial year? And the second final question, how will this portal improve effectiveness, and what specific benefits will it deliver to the public, event participants, and government stakeholders in terms of security, coordination, and accountability? And what are the present timelines and full cost of this projection, Chair? So that is our area, of interest. And again, Chair, it's important to also talk to the question of the mass participation, opportunities, and access development growth centers, what is called shared facilities. How were these centers and their users affected by the delays in addressing the required maintenance and security services? And also take us through about some details about these services and those who will be providing them. And finally, what portion of the rollover amount relates to each cost category, maintenance, utilities, and securities? Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much. Minister, over to you and your team to answer that.
Thank you. I'll hand over to the CFO and to the team who can quickly respond to that. Thank you, Member Benson, for the second round of questions.
Thank you very much, Minister. So CFO will begin just to cover the rollover part. Then Cecilia will cover the portable, what do you call them? Utilities. Yes, and just explain the context of them. What are they purpose for? And also highlight the importance of how they're going to improve our asset verification processes and the fact that all our libraries are beneficiaries for that. And then, Dr. Bogle, you will cover the question about the events portal, who is providing that service for us, who's basically constructing the portal and the extra money that had to be rolled over, what it's going to be used for, etc. And speak about the launch as well. And then the mod question, Daniel, you'll cover that. CFO.
Thank you, actually. So just a little bit of background with regards to rollovers, which we often face, every year at year end. So while we are procuring on time, we often have, challenges with service providers that, for example, do not have enough stock on hand. Or for whatever reason, they are not able to deliver to us by the 31st of March. So in order for us, obviously, to spend, we have to pay an invoice by the 31st of March. And again, we cannot pay an invoice unless, the goods or the services were delivered. So that's the main reason why, in fact, every year we approach Provincial Treasury to motivate a request for rollovers, because mainly it is, issues or aspects that is not within our control. And therefore, the rollovers in the adjusted estimates every year. So that's just.
And they do meet the criteria.
And yes, they do meet the criteria, obviously, because part of our motivation, in fact, is we need to, there's quite a lot of things that we need to include in our motivation to Provincial Treasury before they would even consider to approve our rollovers. Fortunately, we've been successful and all our rollovers generally are approved, especially if it has to do with delays with service providers, which are not really within our control. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cecilia.
Thank you, Chair. So the PDTs is the device that we use to scan the barcodes of our books within the libraries to do asset stock take. It is used by library service. It's not issued to the public libraries. So we as Western Cape Library Service is responsible for assets of almost 6 million books in public libraries. So annually we do 25% of all the libraries, of 375 libraries, where we go to the library and we do the stock take. Our previous PDTs were procured in 2014, So the lifespan of them, they're just coming to an end. With the batteries are running down. We're finding that they were not performing. And obviously with this important task, we need PDTs all to perform. Also, they weren't reading with the latest Windows anymore. So we need to update the software and be up to date with technology. So we procured these PDTs, which are then distributed amongst our 8 regional offices, and they are then used by the regional staff, as well as when we go to the public libraries, used by the public library to then do the asset verification of all the books in those libraries. We received them unfortunately in April, just after the closing of the financial year end. That's why there was a rollover. And it went through an open bid process, and I do not have the amount per person per device. That I can get in a written question back to the committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm going to speak on the event portal. One of the aspects that we have been doing over the last few years is to try to ensure that all our applications are no longer paper-based, but rather by application via either a normal process like emailing. But now we are moving to what we call the portal. Our first portal that we established was for federations to apply for funding, and that has been proven to be successful. And federations now apply via the particular portal that has been developed by CEI for funding between the period 1 July to 30 September each year. We then moved on to the portal for events. And this event portal was formulated in conjunction with CEI, because we rely upon them for the IT and software and for the development thereof. We met with them over a number of months in which we indicated what we need. The portal will thus allow a member of the public and federations and event organizers to apply to the department in real time. They then register, they put all their details in, and then we at the back office can see that the applications have come in. We will still deal with the application and then engage with that. The information is then stored, and we are then able to utilize the information that is on the portal, in which we can then indicate what the local economic impact has been. We are able to determine how many visitors are expected, how many bed nights are expected, so we can extrapolate the number of things that may be needed for us in order to make sure that the Western Cape remains the event capital of choice for South Africa and Africa. So we believe that the event portal is an important role, that at the moment we're using it for sport, but it is now for events, and we're piloting it now with sport. Later on with our colleagues in culture, they will also come on. And then at a certain stage, phase 2 would then look at other aspects where we need. We now have assessments that need to take place. So all the information would then be uploaded, and the information would be able to be shared with Westgrow, the department, DDAT, Department of the Premier, and others, whoever indicates an administrator that needs access at the back end. This will then ensure that we have credible data. The integrity of the data can then be verified against whatever has been uploaded by the event organizer themselves. So we would have that thing that is readily available to any of our principals on any basis. So we launched the event portal at the event conference that took place now in October. We launched it with all the sport federations being present. Minister Mackenzie was at the launch. We then did a demonstration with CEI. We explained what to do, and we did a real-time application, and the portal is now in use. So it's now in its pilot phase, but we believe that once the pilot phase is ended, we will be able to roll out. So that's the event portal, and the importance of it is that real-time data will then be able to be extrapolated at the moment's notice. Thank you, Chair.
And Chair, just to explain, the CEI is .P, the Center for E-Innovation within Western Cape Government. It wasn't a service provider, it's being developed internally. Danielle?
Member, thank you very much for the question and, just acknowledging the shared facilities, the importance and its value. So we can give you comfort that any delays with the rollover has not affected service delivery at the shared facilities. They remain accessible to all of the learners and all of the schools. So we're very proud of our shared facilities. You will see on Saturday, for example, the Paul Adams Foundation hosted their launch at the Lavender Hill shared facilities. So services are there, the infrastructure is safe, we have security in place, we have strong relationships with the schools that host the shared facilities as well, and we're ensuring that each school has access to the shared facility. So at no point has service delivery been compromised or been hindered by the rollover that went through. Thank you very much, Member.
Thank you, Chair. I think that covers all the questions for now.
Thank you very much. I have Member Stevens. She has her hand up.
Thank you, Chair. Just one last question, and I've got a reason for this question. What specific programs or projects will benefit first from these allocations, and how will the department measure services and impact on these communities? Especially with the statement that the Premier made yesterday in the paper saying that Kraaifontein is now the second most dangerous place in South Africa. And I know the minister said yesterday that there's money going to Mitchell's Plain. They've got all these plans for Mitchell's Plain. Is there any plans in the pipeline for the Kraaifontein area, seeing that we now being the most dangerous area, one of the most dangerous areas in South Africa, and that is due to there's nothing for the youth to do in this area. And that's why we are now the second most dangerous area in South Africa. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Is that the final question? Okay, I'm going to check if that's the final question. Minister?
Thank you.
I'm not the minister.
Yes.
Member Benson, have you got the final question?
No, it's fine. No, it's fine.
Great. Thank you very much. Over to you, Minister Mackenzie.
Thank you very much. Two things. One is obviously the previous statements around policing matters that will have to be dealt with at another standing committee, not us, and obviously the Premier needs to be asked to respond to that. But secondly, with regards to the beneficiation of communities like Kraaifontein, school sport will benefit communities like Kraaifontein. So that is the first thing. School sport is meant to benefit everyone who participate in school sport, and the honourable member should be able to easily track that over the next year and see how the participation rate is among school sport, whether it's Kraaifontein or Mitchell's Plain. That specific project identified for Mitchell's Plain, that is obviously done by Department of Pox. I'm happy it's there and it will help the community of Pox. But again, Pox need to be asked how they're going to allocate similar projects to other areas. And I'm sure the honourable members can also ask that. I'm not sure if Guy or any of the team members want to add anything else to this.
Thank you, Chair. We shall begin with the year beyond, just to cover, Jackie, year beyond in Kraaifontein area, and then Danielle, our mod centers and the shared facilities there, etc., and the programs that we're on there. And then we'll end off with the libraries.
The Year Beyond works in the Kraaifontein area in two kind of ways. The Shakuma program, which is specifically targeting at-risk adolescents, focusing on life skills and emotional regulation and anger management, works in the Kraaifontein area because it is such a hotspot. So it's a direct response to that. And the program is being adapted going forward with the Planet Youth data that's come in from all the surveys that were done, and it's been redesigned to address what has been flagged through that, so that it's a direct response to that. And then because of the high risk in the area, we've also, together with libraries, and I'm sure Cecilia will cover that more, but we've also been doing a particular ECD intervention in that area, focusing on ECDs and getting children
ready for school so they don't start on the back foot, because that starts the journey of disengagement with schooling and affects long-term school dropouts. Thanks.
Chair, and then Danielle.
Thank you very much, HOD. So we've got 3 mod centers in Kraaifontein at Scottsdene, Bloemkombos, and then Simonsburg Primary. So 2 primary schools and 1 high school, where we've got coaches employed that are delivering programs to learners at the school. The participation data at beneath Bernardino Heights, we've got 1,200 learners that are registered participating in the program. Engaged learners, you've got 642 learners. At Bloemkombos Primary School, we've got 408 learners that are participating regularly. Then we've also got California Primary School. We've got 370 children participating regularly. So those are the active mod centers we have. And then we also have a shared facility. Our shared facility is at Bernardino Heights. And there you've got a hockey field, an athletics track, and then a grass field as well. So an active program that we'd certainly love to expand. We'll be creating safe spaces for our learners to come and be psychologically and physically safe with caring and competent coaching. Thank you, HVD.
Thank you, Chair. And we're trying to increase the numbers in these spaces because the data shows that learners who are in our spaces, which are safe spaces, are out of harm's way. So those facilities are very active. So I'll just leave the last one to facility to discuss some of the activities in the libraries. Our libraries are very active in the area as well, and all of our children who are in our libraries, we believe, are safe when they are in the libraries. Maybe Cecilia can also just at a high level cover some of the things we want to do with the new service delivery model for libraries and how it will impact programs in the libraries.
Yes.
High level.
Thank you. So the Kraaifontein libraries are very active in the area. They do, especially now over this time, they have holiday programs which are rolling out. The city is very, in general, has a very active holiday program. We are also working closely with those libraries on assisting ECDs in the area and schools in the area. And so we have a very close working relationship with the schools and the ECDs in the Kraaifontein area that we are assisting through our libraries. And yes, as HOD alluded to, the library service model that we are launching, which is looking at the expanding those libraries into multi-purpose spaces, into community spaces, into safe hubs for the communities, so that we are working very closely with City in that regard. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I see we've just got a hand from Member Gwensu.
Yeah, no, then, Chair, I'm sorry for doing this to you, but there is this notion of realignment, which I think would be important that the department take us through. Because one may argue and say perhaps it could be misleading to submit a business plan to the National Department with clear plans and performance targets on the department to later indicate that it no longer requires the allocated funds for the current financial year. Therefore, we'll realign them for future years. So how did this process work, MEC and HOD? And what does it mean for accountability and service delivery? That's an area which for me is quite fascinating, and I think it'll be important for the department to take us through.
Minister, over to you and the team.
Thank you. And our CFO just to give that feedback.
Thank you, Minister, and thank you, Member, for the question. So a realignment is, okay, let me start from the adjusted estimate process, how it works within the department. So we have to identify potential, under expenditure, potential over expenditure. So where we find, for example, there is a potential over expenditure within the department, we will prioritize or reprioritize to ensure that we remain within budget. And because COE is an area where we cannot use the under expenditure or savings within that area without the approval of Provincial Treasury, They require a process where departments, in fact, it does not even happen every year. They've been opening it up to us since last year, but prior to last year, the funding had to be surrendered, which PT then used for, pressure points within the Western Cape government. Since last year, we were given the opportunity to realign the COE savings. So within our department, we will then also look at what are our pressure points, which we will not be able to fund within our current baseline. And then basically we will redirect whatever COE savings we have into those areas. For this year, we identified the SLIM system as a critical project because the SLIM system, as I've indicated, has basically reached end of life. And we do need a more up-to-date, system in terms of the technology. And then for the Windows 11, again, for business continuity, we have to ensure that all our staff have an up-to-date laptop or desktop. And also to ensure business continuity, because that is a critical tool of trade, if I can put it that way, in order for us to do our work. A lot of our, like for example, our submissions are routed all electronically. So we have already successfully moved to an almost paperless environment, or paperless environment. Therefore, the laptop and the desktop, it's critical to our work. Thank you.
And then, Chair, just to say that the SLIM system is the CETA Library Information Management System, which some of the members who were part of the committee at the time may recall, crashed, and the Western Cape was the most affected. And the national CETA is now also trying to look for a new system for the other provinces. So we had to embark on this path. To have a new library management system for our 375 libraries. Thank you, Chairperson.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, right. I'm going to have to move us on now because we do have some time constraints. I just want to ask the Minister and the HOD if you have any closing remarks you'd like to make.
Guy?
Thank you very much, Chair. I'll ask the Minister to make closing remarks from our side as the officials. We just want to say thank you for the committee, for the oversight role. It really helps us get better. And we wishing all of the members a safe festive season. And thank you very much. Looking forward to seeing you again in the new year. Thank you, Chairperson. Over to the Minister.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thank you to our colleagues in the Standing Committee. From our side, thank you very much for the critical questions. I think Member Benson has now asked the year's questions in the Standing Committee. He doesn't want to go and leave. It's good for accountability and for an oversight. But thank you, members, and wish you all the best. Please enjoy yourself out there.
Don't you want a further question, Minister?
Don't you want no follow-up question? No follow-up question. You can ask it next year, Honorable Member. Please have a safe festive season. Take care of yourself. Take care of your mental health. It's been a tough year in many respects. And thank you for Chairperson, and wish the Standing Committee a safe 2025 and see you all back safely in 2026. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. And we really want to thank you and the departments, HOD, all the entities, everyone who's been involved with everything this year. Thank you very much for making it a successful year. Hopefully next year we'll see us all go to greater heights. And thank you to everybody, and also to wish you all a very safe and happy festive season. And good luck with everything going forward in December, and also everything for next year. And we will then see you next year. Thank you very much. So at this point, the Minister and officials, you may exit the meeting and go and enjoy your Friday afternoon. The committee will stay behind because we are moving on to agenda item number 3. Okay, which is the consideration and adoption of the draft committee report on vote 13, Cultural Affairs and Sports, in the schedule to the Western Cape Adjustments Appropriation Bill. At this point, I just want to ascertain from everyone, if you support it or if you do not support it. Member Johnson?
Supported, thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Member Kaiser-Philander?
Chairperson, I want to second the proposal by Member Johnson to support.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone who does not support this? Member Benson?
On behalf of the African National Congress, I would like to register a minority vote.
Certainly, we'll do that minority vote in terms of section 90. Okay, right. So, I just want to check from a procedural point of view. Mr. Matthews, have you managed to draft something that we can read out to the committee? I see you're drafting online.
Yes, Chair, I'm just fixing the font and then it's ready to be read in for record.
Excellent. If I can read it into the record. Reference number WCPP 11/1/7. Committee report. Report of a standing committee on police oversight, community safety, cultural affairs and sport on vote 13, cultural affairs and sport, in the schedule to the Western Cape Adjustments Appropriation Bill, dated 5 December 2025 as follows. The Standing Committee on Police Oversight, Community Safety, Cultural Affairs and Sport, having considered the subject of vote 13, cultural affairs and sport, in the schedule to the Western Cape Adjustments Appropriation Bill, referred to it in accordance with the Standing Rule 188, reports that it supports the vote. In accordance with Standing Rule 90, the African National Congress expresses its minority view in not supporting the vote. Okay. If that is then correct, could we please have a proposer and a seconder? Member Johnson?
I propose the adoption of the report, Chairperson.
Thank you. Have we got a seconder?
I second, Chair.
Thank you very much, Member Kaiser-Philander. Okay, we have thus adopted the report that deals with item number 4. We then just have a couple of housekeeping matters. Agenda item here, consideration and adoption of the draft committee documents. Draft report of 15 and 28 October and 11 October. If we could maybe start with screening the draft report from the 15th, Mr. Matthews. Let's scroll down. Thank you. Have we got a proposer? Thank you, Member Boyson. And a seconder? Member Johnson. Thank you very much. We move on to the 28th of October. Just scroll through that quickly. Thank you very much. A proposer? Thank you very much, Member Boyson, and a seconder. Member Kaiser-Philander, thank you. And then the last report is the one for the 11th of November. Member Benson? Member? Okay. A proposer on this one? Yes, Member Nkoensu. Are you proposing? I take that as a proposal and a seconder.
Yes, Chair, proposing.
Fantastic. Member Boyson? Are you seconding? Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you very much. Now we just have some draft minutes. Let's just get them out the way. The 23rd of September. Just check what you were there. We just go through the attendance list quickly. Right, okay. The proposer on this. Member Boyson and a seconder. Member Philander. Just two more and then we're done. The 15th of October, 2025. And on this one, have we got a proposer? Member Johnson and a seconder. Member Boyson, and then the last one being the 28th of October, 2025. If we can just have someone proposing this. Member Stevens and somebody seconding it. Member Kaiser Philander. Thank you very, very much, everyone. And that is it. And it is also the final meeting of this particular committee for the year. We meet again with a slightly different hat on Monday to look at policing and community safety. But thank you very, very much. Enjoy your Friday afternoon and your weekend, as it is now the first weekend of December. And don't do anything silly. Thank you very much. Meeting adjourned. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Bye.